What if I told you that Shanks and Luffy's long-awaited reunion was much sooner than we all expected? And what if I told you that Shanks and Monkey D. Dragon have been an alliance to defeat the Blackbeard pirates and carry on Roger's will, flipping the world upside down? And what if I told you that all along it was Benn Beckman's grand plan for Luffy to eat the Nika fruit and it was him who snuck it over to him? There is so much to talk about today, and it all revolves around one man, and that is red-haired Shanks. And this all comes together towards the very end of the video, so make sure you pay attention, and trust me, you are going to want to stay tuned for the final mind-blowing reveals. So make sure you hit that like button if you want to do your part in getting this video out to more One Piece fans. And more importantly, subscribe and hit that bell like Luffy and Skypiea. Now before we get into the Dragon and Revolutionary Alliance, let's first talk about Wano and how Shanks might actually arrive in Wano very soon. Before Wano even began, Shanks spoke about how the time was coming, the time when Luffy and Shanks will finally meet, the moment that has been set up since chapter 1, and with the addition of Greenbull and Pluton and the poneglyphs, all of this extra plot being added in with 1053, I cannot help but to feel that we could be in Wano for quite some time longer than you might have expected. If you remember when Shanks and Whitebeard met, the Gorosei and the world government were desperate to do anything within their capabilities to keep them from meeting. And as we know, they ultimately failed, and I predict that we will see a similar situation soon, considering the fact that Luffy is now officially a yonko of the sea. He is on the pedestal of one of these titanic pirate captains, and no, I'm not saying that Luffy is as strong as Whitebeard, but what I am trying to get across is the point that Luffy and Shanks meeting is one of the worst case scenarios for the Gorosei at the moment, especially after seeing Kaido and Big Mom ultimately teaming up after meeting in Wano. We now have Shanks was a very mysterious pirate, and then Luffy or Joyboy, the rubber man who has a massive fleet and overwhelming ridiculous power with his devil fruit and hockey abilities, and someone who is directly responsible for invading multiple military bases. Luffy is a true wildcard, so pairing him with red-haired Shanks' political power and the high praise and connections between the two is one reason why I cannot wait for this long-awaited confrontation. We know that Oda always throws in Shanks at the end of arcs. At the end of Water 7, he met with Whitebeard, he appeared by stopping the ward. At the end of Marineford, at the Whole Cake Island, we get Shanks and the Reverie, and even all the way back in the final chapters of the East Blue Saga, we see Shanks and Mihawk's meeting and the reaction to Luffy's bounty poster. At the very least, there will be a huge Shanks chapter coming at the end of this arc, especially with the newspapers coming in, and this means that we can finally learn what is happening in the outside world, and it's usually when we get bounty posters that we see what Shanks is really up to. This also sets up a very likely reunion between Shanks and Buggy in the final saga. I would not be surprised to see Shanks and Buggy create an alliance, or maybe they will both arrive at Laff together, since it was Shanks who said that they would one day visit Laff together when they have their own crew in the future. And in my opinion, we still need to find out the real reason behind why Buggy was so upset and felt betrayed, or why he betrayed Shanks. I think there's a lot more to it than the simple devil fruit incident where we saw in Buggy's Orange Town's flashback. And knowing Oda, he might reveal a lot more of this in the future when these two former Roger pirates come together, as they are arguably the two most piratey characters in the entire series, aside from maybe Luffy, Blackbeard, and the GOAT Goldie Roger himself. So let me know in the comments, do you think Buggy being revealed as a yonko lowers the hype of the yonko title? Normally I would say it does, but the only problem with this is that we don't know what Buggy has done, so it's hard to say without any context, and I'm sure there will be a great misunderstanding and some kind of reasoning to why Buggy is actually a yonko in the last 2 weeks. And now with the newspapers arriving in Wano, we will see more of Buggy for sure, and what is going on with the rest of the world, the chaotic nature of the Revolutionary Army, who I believe may have ties with Shanks and the red-haired pirates. Now what if I told you that it was actually red-haired Shanks who saved Sabo or faked his death, and with the possibility that Shanks has a celestial dragon bloodline, I wonder if this is the reason why Shanks is able to so freely arrange a meeting with the Gorosei during the Reverie. Now before I tell you about the Shanks and Dragon connection, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you have not already. I have for the longest time believed that Shanks and Dragon to have huge ties, and for this to work, keep an open mind as there is limited information on both characters, but there are many connections. First, we have to look at the obvious connection between Shanks, Dragon, and Luffy, and while Luffy never cared about his father who abandoned him, Shanks is someone who Luffy looks up to and plans to surpass. Like Riley says, there are no coincidences in this world, and something that's always intrigued me is the possibility of Dragon inheriting the will of Roger just like Shanks. In Law Town, Dragon is first introduced with a Goa D. Roger quote about freedom, dreams, and inherited will. And during the Roger execution, Oda decides to put in this order of importance the Warlords, then Shanks, then Dragon, and then finally Ace and Rouge. So yes, Oda is definitely hinting that Dragon has a connection with Goa D. Roger, possibly inheriting his will. Is it possible that Dragon was in the Marines at one point and once trained with Garp, as we know that Garp wants Luffy and Ace to join him? Wouldn't that make it likely that Dragon did run into Roger at one point as a former Marine? And with this certain hint of destiny or fate tying the Will of D members together, I would not be surprised to have this be the case. Now, when you look at the chronological order of how Shanks appears in the Goa Kingdom, a very suspicious base to have before becoming a Yonko, the home of Luffy, Ace, and Sabo, and let's not forget Dragon as well. And sure, you could say it's a coincidence, but then you realize that Dragon was shown in Goa Kingdom shortly after Shanks had left and finally headed north. And where does Dragon's base eventually end up? Well, the north. And we can see this by knowing where Dressrosa is located. So Garp, Shanks, and Dragon, these are all very suspicious figures. Garp who once claimed that he can never find himself to hate Roger, and you can see somewhat of a mutual respect between Roger and Garp. And I also wouldn't be surprised if Roger told Garp some secrets of the world and some things about what he learned at Laff Tale, specifically the meaning of the Will of D. And so the next time that we see Shanks is Law Town, where we see a conversation when Dragon is first introduced as well. And it seems like he was on friendly terms with Smoker in the past. Smoker says that he hasn't seen him since that day that Roger was executed, and Dragon respects that Luffy chose the life of a pirate, showing that he has respect for pirates once again. And this is the first time that we see red hair Shanks again, with Mihawk giving him Luffy's bounty poster, and I like the idea that Shanks would tell Mihawk about Luffy, and this is why Mihawk was so excited to bring him the poster, and why he was so excited to see Luffy and Zoro at Baratier. It's because Mihawk most likely knew exactly who Luffy was from the stories of the red-haired pirate, saying that he will become a legendary pirate one day. Shanks might have even said look out for a rubber boy, and when he got the bounty he knew that he had to deliver it to Shanks. And now the final straw is the post-time skip, where we have something very coincidental if you ask me. You're telling me that the exact day that Dragon and the Revolutionary Army planned to infiltrate the Reverie and announce war on the Celestial Dragons is the exact same day that Shanks scheduled the meeting with the Gorosei. I'm just saying, knowing Shanks, I would not be surprised if there is some kind of alliance going on here between Shanks and Dragon. Very suspicious if you ask me. And so this is why I believe that Dragon could be a former Marine who could have found out many of the world's greatest taboos. And the thing is, if Dragon truly was on Garp's crew at one point, we have a situation where Dragon already may have met Riley, Shanks, Buggy, and all of the Roger pirates multiple times. So let me ask you, is it possible that Shanks, who wears the exact same hood as the leader of the Revolutionary Armies, is in some kind of alliance and saves Sabo during the disaster at the Reverie? And Shanks saving Sabo could be perfect because he knows it's Luffy's brother, and this could be an amazing reveal when Luffy and Shanks finally reunite. And alright guys, before we continue, make sure you do hit that like button. It really helps out a lot more than you realize. There's that very random but curious cameo between Benn Beckman and Shanks in the Ace novel, where Benn Beckman analyzes Ace and says that he would be better as a revolutionary. I'm not kidding you, that's in the Ace novel. So why is Benn Beckman choosing this? Why is he looking at Ace and saying, oh yeah, he would be a perfect fit with those revolutionaries over there? Is there some kind of connection between the two camps? You gotta keep in mind that Garp said that Ace's nature was so similar to Roger, that fiery and passionate nature, protecting those that he cares about. And then after Benn Beckman says this, Shanks starts smiling like an absolute insane person, saying that Ace truly knew his real name, a Will of D and Gold reference, because Ace's true name was Gold D Ace. And this overall is a crazy scene to me. I don't even know if it's canon or if you can consider it canon at the end of the day, but I would recommend going and checking out that one small cameo appearance. Another question is, where is Shanks' crew during the reverie? Is it possible that Benn Beckman is somehow tied to Dragon, who is stated as the moon to Shanks' son, the most intelligent character who appeared in the East Blue Saga, putting him ahead of even Dragon? If Goa Kingdom is this secret base for not only red-haired pirates, but also Garb, you have this kind of thing going on here where Benn Beckman could be the middle piece between the two. After all, Benn Beckman does seem to play the uncle role to Luffy, and although we see the focus on Shanks, people tend to forget how strong the relationship was between Benn Beckman and Luffy, with Benn Beckman teaching his valuable wisdom and looking for him in a different but important way. Now, I have a bone-chilling theory that will definitely shock you, because many people think that Shanks is evil or Shanks has some kind of grand plan, he's the Aizen of the One Piece world, but for me, I believe that it is actually Benn Beckman who is truly the genius behind Luffy eating Nika and this entire operation, and this entire story becoming what it was. It's very clear that Benn Beckman is the true brains behind the red hair pirates, and this next bit of information is something that I have not seen brought up aside from a video that I made 10 months ago or so. But now that we know that Luffy's fruit was actually Nika, this theory has an entirely different meaning, and this very suspicious detail is laid out in plain sight by Oda, so I want you to really pay close attention here. When Luffy first eats the devil fruit, Shanks and the crew are furious. You can see that Lucky Roo and Shanks' reaction as they are genuinely upset and shocked by Luffy becoming a rubber man. But in typical Oda fashion, who is the one man not shown after Luffy eats the Nika fruit? That's right, the second most important character in the Red Hair Pirates is missing from this scene. I'm not kidding, you can go and reread the first chapter, you can go watch it in the anime. Benn Beckman is completely missing from the entire scene, even though he was just standing over there talking to Luffy and Shanks just before Luffy ate the devil fruit. It is my belief that Benn Beckman very sneakily placed the devil fruit near Luffy, knowing he would eat it and open the chest for him. Remember, this was such a valuable fruit and it was just coincidentally sitting right next to Luffy, open, ready for him to eat. And with Benn Beckman mysteriously vanishing in the very next scene, I believe that this is Oda trying to hide a smirk or a reaction from Benn Beckman. If we saw this, it would give way too much away. But in the same sense, Oda is leaving us with a tiny, almost unnoticeable clue that could potentially blow our minds if this is ever revealed in the future and we get a replay and it shows that Benn Beckman wasn't there all along. And if Oda is really planning to reveal this and planning this from day one, I honestly don't even know what to say, because this is mind-bending foreshadowing. So it makes me bring up the question once again, where was Benn Beckman during the reverie? Where was Shanks' crew during the entire event? What if Benn Beckman and the Red Hair Pirates actually helped them escape? And I think it's safe to say that at the very least, Benn Beckman could deal with Fujitora or maybe Greenbull, and there's also Shanks, and let's not forget about the Sniper King, Yasop, and Lucky Roo. If they were really hidden in Mary Joa waiting for Shanks, they might have been willing to help Sabo since he is Luffy's brother. If they're in an alliance with the revolutionaries, this could be even another reason. Now, the final reason why I believe that Shanks has to meet Luffy now is because the government might just declare war on Luffy, the revolutionaries, and the Red Hair Pirates. I go into greater detail in a past video, but people have been asking why the Golden State did not go after Luffy from the jump. Well, I believe that Shanks actually negotiated a deal with them and he would help them keep balance within the Yonko and Emperors if they stayed away from Luffy. And so killing Luffy would be like declaring war on the Red Hair Pirates if this was to ever happen. Now, when we see that Luffy meets Shanks and possibly Dragon, it makes you wonder, who is their common enemy? Well, the common enemy between Dragon and Shanks has always been Blackbeard. Another reason for a possible alliance, but Luffy in the end will be the one to defeat Blackbeard. We know that Blackbeard attacked the revolutionaries and that he was looking for their base for some time. We also know of a past history between Shanks and Blackbeard, with Shanks claiming that the scar on his face hurts more than getting his arm torn off by a fish. And so to make this all come full circle, Blackbeard will challenge Luffy for the throne of the Pirate King, and he is also responsible for the Marineford saga, starting with him capturing Ace to become a warlord. In a way, Blackbeard is partially the reason for Ace's death. If Shanks is ever willing to turn against the Golden State after finding out that they are targeting Luffy since he is Joyboy, we could see an alliance between Dragon, Shanks, Luffy, and even Garb. And this alliance could obviously extend to many other characters, but these might be the final leaders of the alliance heading into the final war saga. Garp told us the truth about how he keeps in regular contact with Dragon at Water 7 after saying how Dragon saw you off at Lawtown. So why does Garp know this? Why is he talking to Dragon? It's very suspicious, and you might say, okay, well, it's his son. But at the end of the day, Dragon is the leader of a criminal revolution. And this brings us to the idea that Garp could be potentially a member of a sword, maybe even the leader, but that's an entirely separate video for another day. And I think it's more than fair to expect a massive Shanks chapter in the foreseeable future, and I also think that it's fair to predict that Shanks will be on the move soon. But let me know, how much longer will it be before we get the long awaited meeting between Shanks and Luffy? And if you did enjoy this video, make sure you hit that like button and skyrocket this channel into the YouTube algorithm, and hit that notification bell to be noticed when we do drop future videos. And if you do want to continue on this journey to uncover the mysteries of the One Piece world, make sure you click on one of these two videos.